Karbala, a revolution that shook even the biggest governments like Iran and Syria.
But how did Karbala actually happen? And how did Imam Hussein's martyrdom spark this revolution? Let's find out.
When Muawiyah broke his treaty with Imam Hassan, peace be upon him, and made his son Yazid the caliph, Muawiyah warned Yazid before his death to be careful of Hussein. He said, "If Hussein stands against you, you won't survive." Yazid knew that winning over Hussein was the most important thing because of Hussein. Once I pledge allegiance, the rest will follow. Yazid was a ruthless tyrant and a drunkard. He knew very well that people wouldn't willingly pledge allegiance to him, so he started forcing them at sword point. He sent letters to all his governors, ordering them to force people to pledge allegiance. So his governors began beating people and forcing them to pledge. Then the governor of Medina, Walid bin Utbah, secretly called Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, at night and asked him to pledge allegiance to Yazid. But Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, said, "I will never pledge allegiance to Yazid. I will do it." Saying this, Imam Hussein left with his family that very night and went to Mecca, where they stayed for several months. While Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, was in Mecca, many people from Kufa sent him letters saying, "You are our only Imam. Please come to us. We will support you and fight against Yazid." So Imam Hussein sent Muslim bin Aqil to check the situation in Kufa. When Muslim bin Aqil arrived, the people welcomed him warmly, and more than 18,000 people pledged allegiance to Imam Hussein. Here is what was promised. When Yazid found out that people were gathering an army against me, he immediately removed Kufa's governor, Noman bin Bashir, and replaced him with Ubaidullah bin Ziyad so he could go there and crush the movement. So, Ubaidullah bin Ziyad cleverly disguised himself at night, wearing clothes like Imam Hussein and covering his face, and entered Kufa. When people saw him, they thought Imam Hussein had come to lead them. They started celebrating and even kissed his hands. Keep in mind, there was no electricity back then. No one found out that night. Ubaidullah bin Ziyad entered the palace in Kufa, and the very next day, he revealed his true colors to everyone.
"Anyone who supported Hussein would face a terrible fate. I have also captured Muslim bin Aqil."
Threw him off the palace roof and martyred him. Many of those who were going to support Imam Hussein were either killed or thrown into prison. By this time, Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, had already set out towards Kufa with his family, as he had been waiting for the past 4 months. They were staying in Mecca, and during the time of Hajj, thousands of Muslims came and promised to support them. When Yazid found out about this, he sent some of his men to kill Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, in Medina. When Imam Hussein learned that Yazid had sent spies to kill him, he decided to leave Mecca. Before leaving, he gave a sermon saying that whoever stands with us will be martyred, and whoever stays behind will never achieve this great success. After saying this, Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, set out towards Kufa. They left, but they didn't know that Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad had taken control of Kufa. Many of their companions even advised them against going there. Still, Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, set out for Kufa with about 70 to 80 people. They weren't going there to fight, they were going to meet the people of Kufa along with their family. This great caravan was traveling through the desert when they got news of Muslim bin Aqil's martyrdom. Hearing this, many of their companions lost heart, and some even thought about turning back, but Imam Hussein, peace be upon him, as-Salam, told them that we have come from Allah's side, and we have to return to Him. We have to complete this journey, and I can't turn back. After that, their caravan set off again towards Kufa. On the way, when the caravan stopped for a rest, Imam Hussein was sleeping. He then saw his grandfather, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in a dream. The Prophet told Imam Hussein, "Keep moving forward. Allah wants to see you as a martyr." Imam Hussain woke up from the dream and shared it with his companions. He said that those who want to go back should leave because anyone who stays with me now will be killed. Some people left, but the rest stayed with him, and the group set off again toward their destination. On the way, they saw another group, which belonged to Zuhair bin Kain. On the way, they saw another group, which belonged to Zuhair bin Kain. They met Imam Hussain. After this meeting, Zuhair bin Kain divorced his wife and told her to go with the others because he was going to give his life with Imam Hussain, peace be upon him. Meanwhile, Yazid had already learned that Imam Hussain was in Kufa. They had already set off. So this wicked man sent Hur bin Yazid with an army of 1,000 toward Imam Hussein's caravan. Hur bin Yazid stopped Imam Hussein's group somewhere along the way, in the desert near the banks of the Euphrates River. Imam Hussain asked his companions, "Where is this place?" They told him, "This is Karbala." Tears welled up in Imam Hussein's eyes, and he said, "This is the very place where our blood will be spilled." Imam Hussain then ordered, "Set up camp right here. Now we won't go any further." This was the very spot where Imam Ali, peace be upon him, while returning from the Battle of Siffin, stopped and said, "O Hussein, be patient on the day when your father won't be there to help you. Be patient on the land of Karbala, for there you will have to face death alone." So, on the second day of Muharram, when Imam Hussein's companions had set up camp in Karbala, Yazid sent a force of 4,000 soldiers, led by Ammar ibn Sa'd, to join Hur ibn Yazid's army. This made Hur ibn Yazid's forces even stronger. The numbers kept increasing. On top of that, Ammar ibn Sa'd kept calling for even more troops from Yazid. Imam Ali, peace be upon him, prayed to Allah during Tahajjud, asking for a son. He prayed, "O Allah, grant me a son who will support my son Hussein during his lonely days. Give me a child who will be loyal to Hussein, stand by him in Karbala, who will give his life for him and never bow down in the face of death." Only then did Allah bless him with Abbas. That's why Ammar ibn Sa'd kept calling for more troops, because Abbas was standing right there in front of them. So, Imam Hussain wrote a letter to the people of Kufa to tell them about his situation. But that letter never reached the people of Kufa. Imam Hussain and his companions were suffering from extreme thirst because Ammar bin Sa'd had positioned 500 soldiers by the riverbank. It was scorching hot in the desert, with the sun blazing overhead. The children were crying, their lips cracked and dry. Even the women were fainting from the intense thirst. Imam Hussein's companions were growing weak from lack of water, but their spirit remained strong. One of Imam Hussein's sons, Imam Zainul Abidin, was already sick. Lady Sakina kept coming to Imam Hussain again and again. She was asking, "Baba, where's the water?" Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, sent a message to the enemies saying, "If you want to fight me, then at least let these women and children drink water. What fault have they done?" But the reply came back that Ubaidullah bin Ziyad had strictly ordered them not to give even a drop of water. The next day, on the 8th of Muharram, Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, tried to negotiate with Ammar bin Sa'd. But his only demand was that Imam Hussain swear allegiance to Yazid, which Imam Hussain was never willing to do. Because of thirst, his heart started beating faster. The blood was thick, making it hard for the body to pump properly. Brain functions were declining, and this was happening even more in the children. The day of 9th Muharram had arrived, and amidst all this trial, the day passed. Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, spent the entire night in worship and told his companions, "You can leave now. The enemies only want my life. I don't want anyone to lose their life because of me." After that, Imam Hussain extinguished the lamps, and when he lit them again a little later, not a single companion had left him. When Hur bin Yazid found out that Ammar bin Saad was going to fight against Imam Hussain, he joined Imam Hussein's army because he respected him. Then came the day of 10th Muharram. Imam Hussain stood in front of Yazid's army and said, "Hey people, listen. Do you know who I am? Am I not the son of your prophet? Are you really trying to kill me just because I refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid?" But the enemy stayed silent. So Imam Hussain got his army ready and divided them into 3 groups. There was one group on the right, one on the left, and a part in the center led by Hazrat Abbas. Yazid's army was surrounding them from all sides. After the Fajr prayer, the battle began. Imam Hussein's companions kept getting martyred one by one. When all his companions had been martyred, Imam Hussein's handsome son Ali Akbar, who looked just like the Prophet Muhammad, came onto the field and called out, "I am Ali, Ali's son, Hussein's son. We are from the Prophet's family, and by Allah's oath, we will never bow down to falsehood. We won't back down." When Yazid's army saw Janab Ali Akbar's face, they went silent. Some looked down, and others turned away because Janab Ali Akbar looked exactly like the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It was as if the Prophet himself had stepped onto the battlefield. Then he moved forward, taking down enemy after enemy, but from a distance someone threw a spear into his chest. He fell to the ground, calling out for Imam Hussain. Imam Hussain rushed to him, helped him up and said, "Hey, Allah is witness. They even martyred the one who resembled your prophet the most." After that, Imam Hassan's son, Janab Qasim, asked Imam Hussain for permission to fight. Imam Hussain said, "O Qasim, you are the only legacy of your father. How can I let you go?" Janab Qasim replied, "Uncle, dying for you is sweeter than honey to me." Imam Hussain embraced him and started crying. Then Janab Qasim went to the battlefield and fought very bravely, but after a while, someone from behind, they attacked them and they too became martyrs. Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, went to them and lifted their bodies. After that, 2 of Imam Hussein's nephews were also martyred. Hazrat Abbas, peace be upon him, was also busy in the battle. When he heard the children crying, he asked Imam Hussain for permission to bring water. Imam Hussain granted him permission. Then Hazrat Abbas mounted his horse, broke through Yazid's army, and headed towards the Euphrates. On the way, he took down everyone who came in his path and reached the river. There, when he arrived, he scooped some water into his hands to drink. But as soon as he remembered that his people were thirsty, he let the water slip through his fingers. Then he took water in his water skin, mounted his horse, and started heading back toward the tents. Just then some enemies attacked his arm and cut one off. He held the water skin with his other hand, but that hand was cut off too, so he held the water skin in his mouth. After that, he was martyred. Imam Hussain, peace be upon him. When Abbas approached, he said, "Brother, forgive me. I couldn't bring you any water." And with that, he too was martyred. Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, was devastated by this sacrifice. After that, Imam Hussain brought his 6-month-old son, Ali Asghar, in front of everyone and said, "If not for me, at least give water to this child." But a cruel man shot an arrow into Ali Asghar's throat, killing him. Imam Hussain threw Ali Asghar's blood up and said, "O Allah, please remember this sacrifice of mine." By then, all of Imam Hussein's companions had been martyred. They were left all alone. Their bodies were covered in wounds, and they were exhausted from fighting. On top of that, the thirst was so intense that even a normal person couldn't move. Yet they stood firm in front of their enemies. Imam Hussain went to his family, said goodbye, wrote a final letter to the people of Kufa, and said, "You called me with your letters, but now you've broken your promises. God willing, we'll meet again on the day of judgment." After that, he mounted his horse, Zuljana, holding Zulfikar in his hand, and stepped into the battlefield. Facing him was an army of thousands. He was alone, but not ready to give up. On one side, there were tons of enemies like dinosaurs, and on the other a wounded lion. Imam Hussain charged full speed towards the army, slashing through the enemies with his sword. He kept cutting through their ranks as he moved forward. Enemy heads were flying through the air like birds. Many soldiers were shocked. Some said, "We've never seen anyone fight with such thirst and injuries before. He's fighting like he's not even from this world." Several commanders of Yazid's army called for a joint attack, but no one. Hussein wasn't ready to face them. 10 soldiers came together to fight Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, but still, they couldn't defeat him. It was like Ali himself was fighting on the battlefield with Zulfikar in hand. From afar, Ammar bin Saad saw this and told his army, "Attack from all sides and shower arrows on Hussein from a distance." When thousands of arrows rained down on Imam Hussain, he couldn't protect himself, and his entire body was pierced with arrows. Imam Hussain fell from his horse and went into prostration. After that, he was martyred. Following Imam Hussein's martyrdom, Shimar came up to Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, and placed his filthy foot on his blessed chest. Then Imam Hussein's head was severed from his body. His tents were looted, and his women and children were taken captive. After Imam Hussein's martyrdom, a revolution started that's still going strong today. When the people of Kufa found out about Imam Hussein's death, they came to his grave and swore they'd fight Yazid to the very last breath. Their test would be their sword. After that, they fought against Yazid. And were martyred. Then, in Mecca, Abdullah bin Zubair refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid. "We'll stop him right here." After that, the Muslims of Mecca fought against Yazid, and thousands of Muslims were martyred. No mercy. Then the people of Medina also broke their allegiance to Yazid. When they learned about Imam Hussein's martyrdom, they too fought against Yazid, and thousands more were martyred. Years later, the Abbasids rose with black flags and ended the cruel rule of the Umayyads. From the blood of Imam Hussain, a revolution began. What happened continued for centuries after their martyrdom. Before the revolution in Iran in 1979, the country was ruled by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, who was basically a puppet of Western countries. Just like Israel and the US see Iran as their biggest enemy today, there was a time when Iran actually had really good relations with them. Bihar Americans welcome you to the United States. Back then, Iran was fully soaked in Western culture, and even religious scholars were being suppressed. Then, a man named Ayatollah Khomeini stood up and started speaking out to the people. It was said that every day is the day of Ashura, and every land is the land of Karbala. This meant that people started saying we have to stand against this Yazid, just like in Karbala, and that the regime in Iran must be changed. Khomeini began raising awareness among the people in the assemblies. People started to understand his message and began shouting slogans like Labbaik or Hussein. They raised the flags of Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, and thousands of Muslims even gave their lives fighting against the government. People got motivated by the story of Imam Hussain, peace be upon him, and that's how Ayatollah Khomeini. The Iranian government was overthrown. After that, Western culture was wiped out in Iran, and an Islamic government was established. Inspired by Iran's Islamic movement, Sheikh Ibrahim started the Shia movement in Nigeria. These people began chanting slogans of Imam Hussain and started protesting. Seeing this, in December 2015, Nigeria's security forces attacked them, killing over 1,000 Shia Muslims, including 3 of Sheikh Ibrahim's sons. Sheikh Ibrahim and his wife were shot and thrown in jail without any trial. Similarly, in Iraq, people got fed up with the government's corruption, poverty, and America's foreign interference, and started protesting against the government. They dealt with 4 days of violent anti-government protests. These protesters began calling themselves Hussein and labeled the government as Yazidis. Over 100 people lost their lives and thousands were injured. Many were shot by snipers, and the protesters' camps were set on fire, just like how Imam Hussein's camps were burned. This same year, the people of Lebanon, tired of government corruption and the political system, also protested against the government. They started calling themselves Husseini and began protesting with black flags. The government responded by using tear gas on these protesters and arrested many of them. But 2 weeks after this protest, their Prime Minister Saad Hariri resigned. Similarly, in 2011, there were protests in Bahrain when the Sunni government was oppressing the Shia majority, and they also started protesting. Besides these, there were protests in India in 2020, the Black Lives Matter protests the same year, and protests in Pakistan as well. The inspiration was Karbala. This is the revolution that Imam Hussain started with his blood, which many people don't even know about today. Islam itself is a political religion. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a politician himself. He dealt with the disbelievers and established Islam. Similarly, the first caliph, Hazrat Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, was also a politician, and Hazrat Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, fought wars against the Roman and Persian empires, which helped spread Islam across the world. Imam Ali, peace be upon him, was also a politician who, during the times of Abu Bakr, Umar, and Usman, they stayed close to the government, advising and supporting it, and the same happened in their own times. That's why Islam is a political religion. Islam has its own system of leadership, the caliphate. This religion is made to govern. If non-Muslims rule over Muslims, then their prayers and fasting won't have any real benefit. Those rulers will oppress them, and the Muslims won't be able to do anything. You can see this happening right now in Palestine. Because of this, first and foremost, we need to be politically active and establish Allah's rule. Otherwise, our praying in the mosque doesn't really help. That S.Y. Allama Iqbal said the faith people look for in mosques was actually lost on the battlefield of Karbala.